Hey guys, it's your boy NJMP, and I am joined by Finchinator, who is the head OU tier leader. And we're going to be discussing Generation 9. We have this dope Generation 9 tier list that was put together by this great guy that I'm sure that you guys have been on and shoot. You're the reason why it's crashing all the time. Trying to get all the information that you can on Generation 9. Now, I'm going to warn people at the beginning of this video, but I will warn again that there will be spoilers. But honestly, you know what? Actually, I don't think I'll need to, because by the time this video actually goes up, which will be tomorrow, the game will already be up. But I'm still going to warn y'all nonetheless, just in case you guys want to make sure you play the whole game, etc. So, it is what it is. But yeah, we are going to be spoiling. So if you want to avoid spoilers and you want to get, I guess, an authentic or start from scratch, don't want to go in completely blind to the game, you want to click off the video now. But if you do not care, well then, welcome, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. But yeah, so we're going to be discussing Generation 9. We are both, I would say, extremely excited for this generation. I think that's an understatement. And yeah, we're going to be basically going through each mon. We're going to go through the regional decks. We are not going to cover what's going to be coming later. For example, we're not going to be covering, Lando T. We're not going to be covering Greninja. Those Pokemon aren't going to be introduced into later. We're just going to be covering all the mons that we have to worry about in the beginning, as we already have to worry about so much to begin with, and that's not even considering the new mechanic that is Terra Blast. So yeah, we have a lot on our plate when it comes to Generation 9 OU. And before we get to the first Finch, what is your opinion on Terra Blast, on what you've been able to decipher so far?
Great question. So it's going to be at the forefront of our metagame for the coming days and potentially weeks. My hunch is that it's likely going to be a little too out there for competitive landscape, unfortunately. But I'm hoping to be proven wrong. Kind of cautiously treading the water right now, and we'll see what happens. Obviously, the concept of additional stab or even bolstering your own stab, it's just a novel concept that could really alter the way we play around things defensively and offensively. It's a new way to enhance power creep, and it's funny because in Generation 8, we obviously had Dynamax. This is totally different than that, and I don't know if it'll be better or worse or indifferent, but it's certainly going to be a new mode of play, and I'm very excited for it, but I'm also a little cautiously optimistic about it sticking around. We're going to have to really do our due diligence, and we might, focus on getting the overpowered Pokemon out of the way first, and then maybe shift gears towards that later on in, a couple days or weeks once we really have a greater understanding of it, because we've never seen anything like it before, so only time will have to tell.
Yeah, no, and that's certainly a fact. I mean, I feel like it's one of those things where honestly I feel like it's pretty cool that we do get to test it out, kind of similar to Dynamax, and we can see how ridiculous it is, if it is ridiculous or if it's perfectly fine. It would be cool to see it stick around, potentially like Z moves did, but at the same time, we can see it getting completely out of hand. At the same time, it kind of could be like how Heavy Duty Boots was, because Heavy Duty Boots, it never truly was broken, but there was a video like I made a couple days ago. There was a discussion to be had about Heavy Duty Boots, especially when Cinderace was very prevalent, and
Yeah.
but as over time, as more Pokemon got introduced, Heavy Duty Boots has not been as gruesome as it once was, and is only, I would say, quote unquote, abused by certain mons in the tier now. So it could be
Yeah.
like that for Terra Blast. It could be completely ridiculous at the beginning, but as we adjust and as new mons come into play, it could be just fine. But also as new mons come into play, like for example, something that I've been thinking about is the Reggie electric type. I think it's what is the Reggie like Kelly or Leaky?
Reggie Lecky.
Yeah,
So yeah, if you give it
yeah.
like an ice stab, then
Exactly.
on top of with nuclear power on the electric side, it's going to really be able to hit the grass and the ground types, of course, that it lacked, because it lacked couldn't power ice.
Yeah. So extremely scary mon, and I can, we could make that example for a dozen mons. So we certainly will see. But yeah, it's enough talking about that. We're going to get into the first Pokemon. And that is going to be. Oh, by the way, guys, if we butcher the names, listen, we're just learning just like y'all. So we
You're
could.
going to be able to input this onto the list yourself, so I'm good, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna input ourselves.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
So we got the first one would be Meow Scarada. And this typing is, I believe, grass dark. It gets protein.
Yeah, so it gets dark with the third evolution. It also gets protein, but protein isn't the same as it was in prior generations, I believe.
Yeah, correct. The way they changed it, it changes the Pokemon's type to the type of the move it's about to use. This works now only once each time that the Pokemon enters the battle. So, one thing that was crazy about, the most prevalent protein of course, was Greninja, is that it was able to, set up spikes, turn to a ground, you hit it with electric move. You thought it was a water type? No, it wasn't. They would get free spikes, no damage, then it could ice beam away your Mon or hit a pump, whatever, and it just keep changing typing. In this case, it's only going to be able to change its typing once, and it's going to stay that typing until it leaves the battle and comes back in. Which is, definitely more balancing. Definitely more balancing of an ability.
I couldn't agree more. And in a sense, Protein and, of course, Libero, which is essentially its clone, if it was on better Pokemon, probably would have, been more regarded as maybe broken. But it was really only on one or two Pokemon per generation, and Greninja got banned one generation, Cinderace another, so we haven't seen it. But now with it being a bit more balanced, it's going to be interesting to see how it really plays into our tiers.
Yeah. 100%. So I'm also going to pull up and I'm going to link Finch, just in case he doesn't have it, the move pools for each Pokemon. And so as
awesome, because this is going to be dictated by a lot of its moveset, just because Protein, if you've got a move to hit something like Ferrothorn right off the bat, it's going to go a long way. For example, I believe give me 1 second here.
Yeah, you good. I'm trying.
I believe it doesn't get the best coverage, but don't quote me on that. I'm just trying to look it up right now.
Yeah, I just sent you the second one because the first
one.
Yeah,
I think it's that's why.
Yeah. So let me see if there's some notable moves. Well, number one, it gets apparently Flower Trick, and let me see, because Flower Trick is definitely a new move. At least I'm pretty sure. So let me see what Flower Trick do. Excuse me. Okay, Flower Trick. It throws a.
It gets spikes.
Oh, it gets spikes. That's really good. A bouquet of flowers. The attack never misses and always lands a critical hit. It is grass and it's physical. So
yeah, and it is a physical attacker. You're also going to see things on it. U-turn is going to be great to opposing grass types. I think it gets low sweep and brick break to hit steel types as well. Limited but not bad. So it definitely has enough tools where I'd say it'll probably end up being either a UU or an OU Pokemon.
Yeah, I definitely think I can. So that Flower Trick is pretty important because I can see this being a Banded Mon perfectly fine. Because it has the speed tier to outspeed a decent amount of the meta at the start. And again, we're going to be limited to a certain amount of Pokemon that will be even able to switch into it, because most of the physical walls that at least I've been able to identify are mostly water based. Now of course we will have Corviknight, but does Corviknight really want to switch into this? I'm not saying if Corviknight can't, but it will probably be roosting, especially if it's banded each time.
Here's the thing. You can force roost, so if you've got enough pivoting on your team, you can start out a roost pretty promptly.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely feel like there's some potential for this thing to be a faster breaker. Of course, it's going to be on the fragile side. It doesn't have the most premier defensive typing. 76, 70, 70 on the bulk side with 123 speed. It kind of feels like it plays like a more physical grass type Greninja, who's a bit weakened because Protein's not all this. I'm thinking UU or UUBL, maybe OU.
And it also gets U-turn and knockoff, and I think the knockoff is the most important thing because as we've learned, a lot of Pokemon lost knockoff, so it's one of the very few Pokemon that actually does have knockoff. So I just imagine, along with it having the ability to use spikes, it can I can see it overwhelming a team with its speed. Knockoff, U-turn is apparently a move that can crit every single time. And Flower Trick, that's pretty scary. Me personally, I feel like it's. You said OUU. I would align in the same. I guess if anything, lean a little more OU, and the main reason being is because we'll be in the regional decks. I think that
Yeah, I'm fine with starting it in OU, and if we see a lot of Pokemon there, we could always move it down a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So we're gonna start off with the cat in OU. Let's see. Next we have Skeledridge. We're probably gonna stay on this one as long as we did with Meow. I would say mostly due to Skeledridge. I feel like it's going to be overwhelmed. I don't want to say extremely easily, but it's definitely going to be, if anything, if it is used in OU or UU, because I feel like it will probably start around there. It's going to be because of its decent HP and decent defense, and of course it has the ability Unaware, along with the Ghost typing. And the great thing about the Ghost typing, and Ghost typing is going to be a very, very important typing this generation based on the fact that we have all of these hazard stackers like Meow, but we do not have many removers. And when we do have removers when it comes to Rapid Spin, the Ghost types such as Skeledridge are going to prevent that. And it's really going to come down to if you're going to be using Rapid Spinner, that Rapid Spinner is going to have to be able to effectively hit those Ghost switches, or at least pressure. I wouldn't say pressure them out, but make them hesitant on switching in so easily. Kind of similar to Escadrille or Lando, because Lando's. No, I should say extra more so in the terms of basically I would say Edge Slash. Being a prevalent Ghost type of Generation 8 was never really loving to switch into it, based on, of course, being able to be hit by Equate. So, Finch, what do you think of Skeledridge here?
In my opinion, unfortunately, it's not really set up with the tools to be successful in an OU environment. It has tools to be like a UU or an RU Pokemon that you see on more Spike, Stacky, Balance, or even Stall your build, because it's got that high HP, the Ghost typing, and Unaware as an ability. Pair that with Heavy Duty Boots, and it might have some niche there depending on its move pool applications. I will say though, in OU, while it can spin block, it doesn't really have a great typing defensively, so its profile is more limited. So while you see it's got 104, 100 base physical defense, and if you invest in special defense, it could make use of the HP decently enough. It's very slow. It only hits decently hard on the special side. I'd say that the stat allocation from Yoskata is much better than it would be for Skeledridge. And I think Skeledridge, it's going to be carried by its HP, but I don't think when you're fire Ghost typing, you're weak to water, you're weak to dark. Two of the most common typings, ground and rock. You're kind of locked into Heavy Duty Boots, things like that. I think, unfortunately speaking, it's probably going to be more of an RU Pokemon when the dust settles. I could maybe see UU in the most limited Pokedex metagame, but yeah.
So, I hear you 100%. I think, if anything, maybe what will keep it from RU is apparently it has this move called Torch Song, and that is its signature move, and it is a special based attack, and it does have decent BST when it comes to special attack, 110.
Yeah.
And it gives apparently 100% boost in its special attack after it uses it, and the attack itself is 80 power and 100% accuracy. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Now, my issue with that, and that it is absolutely going to help, it's still going to be a slower Pokemon with a lot of weaknesses, so I just don't know if it really has a profile to abuse that well, but when it does have tools like Encore, Will-O-Wisp, alongside that, Hex to potentially form as coverage and other fire dark type moves, it might be able to be kind of like a tanky attacker on more balanced builds in lower tiers, so I could see it.
Yeah, no, for sure. So let me find Skeledridge on this document.
Yeah, I mean, just some besides Torch Song, it also is going to get utility moves like Roar, Will-O-Wisp, Encore. It's going to get, all the normal bundle of fire moves, Overheat, Torch Song, Flamethrower. And I assume it gets some sort of dark type attack as well, and it gets, Earth Power for some steel types that it can't hit otherwise, or Rock Specs, So it's got the cools. You wish it had more in terms of recovery and utility, but it is what it is,
And let's see, at 66.
Yeah, it's just too slow for OU.
Yeah,
it's probably going to be UU at start, and then once all the Pokemon come out, it'll fall to RU. That's how I feel.
Okay, so we'll put it at RU. And one thing to keep. I wonder. Um, let me see. Do we have? I'm trying to check in the regional decks. Do we have a Sun introducer? Um,
I don't think so.
Did Ninetales come with the deck? No, I don't think. Oh yeah, I don't think we have. We have Rain introducer, but I don't think we have Sun. So Sun won't be able to pull it off regional. So I can't even say maybe it'll be a valuable Sun one. So yeah, definitely RU. Say it again.
Yep. To be decided in the future, but yeah, for now.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going down to the water starter now?
Yes. The water fighting. Help me out, Finch. How do you want to pronounce this?
Quaquaval.
Quaquaval. Okay. All right. Quaquaval.
Wow.
So water fighting, 120 attack, fantastic attack, and it has 85 speed. And I'm really focusing on those because that's what it's going to need to accomplish so much from OU, because we're analyzing this from an OU perspective. Yes, we're knocking some of these mons down to lower tiers, but we're analyzing this from an OU perspective. And in this case, though, the attack and speed stats going to be the most important thing with this being an offensive mon, especially with it being a mon that's going to try to take advantage of its hidden ability, Moxie. So, Finch, what do you think?
First, right off the bat, it's going to be walled by Toxpex, I believe. I hate to say it, it's got tools for very much everything else, but it's going to have to rely on like Terra Blast to beat that, which is unfortunate. It might be a limiting factor.
Yeah.
That coupled with its mediocre speed. But everything else, awesome. Water and Fighting, two of the premier offensive types. Aqua Step, I think, is going to potentially be viable. I can't quite remember what it does, but on top of that,
it's basically
Aqua Jet gives a priority to make for the speed.
Yeah.
It's got close combat, which is going to be awesome. It's got access to U-turn to pivot on things, like Psychic types. It has Encore, which I think is cool. We're getting more distribution of. You can see sub-reversal sets maybe. Those are two moves it gets as well. And, Brave Bird, take grass types or acrobatics. You go with an itemless set. The moveset is there. You just wish it got access to like Earthquake or Zen Headbutt, but neither here nor there. Do you know what the signature move Aqua Step does?
Yeah, so Aqua Step, it raises its speed every single time it uses it, and it's 80 base power.
Alright.
That's not bad.
Still kind of limited though.
Yeah, 100%. But what we do know is that Rain will be very prevalent, as we have a Rain introducer in Pelipper. In fact, I think Rain potentially could, at least at the start, could be like one of the scariest things to face. I'm not sure if this mon will be one of the reasons. I think one thing to consider is as you said, with Toxapex, it will have to have, I would say, the Terra Blast and have to click ground, to be able to hit that.
Yeah.
Because it has the tools. It gets SD. It gets that move that raises its speed, along with actually doing an attack.
I still picture it probably more as a UU Pokemon than an OU Pokemon, but I could see with Terra Blast being allowed, it's starting OU and then eventually being dropped to UU if that ever were to get banned. But off the bat, it's got all the tools.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. I definitely see it being a UU. I mean, it's got great. Its move pool is really dope. It's got U-turn. It's got that move. It's got reverse, like you said. It could potentially, sub down and start going crazy. It's got some good stuff. So yeah, we'll definitely start this off at UU. And maybe even UUBL. But yeah, it should be fine at UU. The next mon, so we get past the starters. I'm pretty sure we can pass the pig.
Oh yeah.
And then the next mon is low kicks, and I thought that I ignored it, but Pokemon brought up to me like he felt like it's actually going to be pretty scary and pretty good. So I kind of want to talk about that mon for a second.
Yeah, I think it'll be viable in a metagame, just not the metagame, if that makes any sense. It's got Tinted Lens, which is awesome, but when you've got a limited attack stat and limited offensive profile, 102, 52, 92 stats, you're going to hit hard with Tinted Lens on the physical side, maybe, but you don't have the great speed, And I think that it's probably going to be more of a UU Pokemon, but I think there's going to be like viable applications of it in OU just because Tinted Lens with like a scarf can really clean an offensive team that doesn't have like a durable Pokemon. So I think it's going to be more of a mixed bag.
So Pokemon was bringing up to me that well, one, of course, it gets SD. It has the ability to U-turn. It has first impression.
First impression's huge.
Yeah, and it has sucker punch. I will say this. I feel like it may not be the most effective mom, but it's also I could see you running into it and being like, I wish I wasn't facing it.
Yeah, it's one of those like pesky lurker Pokemon where because of its lack of utility both offensively and defensively, it's not going to fit onto many teams. But when you face it, it's not going to be on like your checklist and it's really going to screw with the wrong team at the wrong time. You know?
Yeah.
It'll probably be like a C tier OU Pokemon, but it'll be UU by usage. That's kind of how I see it initially.
Yeah, I agree. Makes complete sense. All right, let me see if I can find the sucker now so I can add it to the list. So we go here. I really wish there was like names under so I could just type it in and it'd be just much easier to pull up. Now I gotta like let's try to figure out what it.
Nah, man, this is the hardest part of the video. You're on camera too, so.
Exactly. This is the hardest part. All right, I'm a keep looking, but at least I'm gonna bring up the next mon because I can't find this. All right, let's see. I think we're pretty safe to skip Talonflame, right? We're pretty safe to skip Talonflame.
Yeah.
We should be. The reason why I'm hesitant because like Talonflame did have some viability at the start of Gen 8 OU because it had heavy duty boots. It was also a check to Volcarona, which was very
It's
scary.
going to be like RU or NU. It's fine.
Yeah, okay. So, but we'll move on. We don't need to have a... Okay, but what we will talk about is I believe, Palmoot is its name. And the main reason why we're talking about Palmoot is because it got... it's broken. And I believe it's broken because of its move. I'm pretty sure it's a move, not ability. I'm pretty sure it's a move. And... let me see if I can find the exact move. What is the name as is ridiculous. Where is it? What is it called?
It's the Electric Fighter, right?
Yeah. I'm trying to find the move, like the thing that made it. Oh, there it is, right? It's the signature move. Revival Blessing. Yeah. So, have you heard about Revival Blessing, Finch?
I've heard about it. I wish I didn't hear about it for the sake of my sanity, but
yeah.
That's how it is. I'm going to be real with you guys. I don't know if the Pokemon's going to get banned or the move's going to get banned, but I don't think it's going to last. I wouldn't get attached to it. Revive is not something that's meant to be used in competitive battles.
Yeah, so its move Revival Blessing is able to restore the Pokemon that is fainted to half of that Pokemon's max HP. So, you could be thinking, oh, I got rid of the Roaring Moon. I don't have to worry about it for the rest of the game. You would think that. In normal generations, it is okay to have that thought. But if you see a Palma in the back, you have to mentally prepare yourself, okay, I can't potentially sack this mon that should be safe to sack because it could revive up that tremendous threat and you are in a bad position. It also has the speed to pull it off, which is very, very important.
And you could run it almost like a Scarf Healing Wish user, but you aren't even dying. And you're reviving something that's not weakened but dead. It's just Scarf Healing Wish but better. And it still has a decent profile. I mean, it wouldn't be even close to any Pokemon without it. Don't get me wrong, but with it, it's not going to be competitive in my opinion. So we shouldn't get attached to it, is how I'd put it.
Yeah. I mean, so do you think that the move will it's just going to be too much?
Well, do multiple Pokemon get the move or just this Pokemon?
It's, to my understanding, it's this one and then one other Pokemon, but this is the only potential OU mon.
So if both Pokemon use the move in OU, we're probably going to ban the move so we can preserve the Pokemon. And then Palmon's going to eventually become, say, an RU or an NU Pokemon. That would be my guess is what happens. But if the other Pokemon is somehow balanced in OU despite having the crazy move, then Palmon might actually be sent to Ubers. So it's got a big range, I'll put it that way.
Okay. guess so. So I mean, so okay, we're gonna start off at OU, just based off the name
Yeah, I think we
alone.
start off with OU and we see from there.
Okay, all right, sounds good. You know, okay, I found the power mod. So funny thing is, I found that mod. Still ain't found the damn low kicks.
Sure.
We're just gonna move on. Maybe they forgot, or maybe I'm blind. I don't know. I think it's this one. Oh, I think I found it finally. Oh, it's interesting. Okay, I was thinking.
There we
There.
go.
Okay. I think I found it. Wow, that's a small thing. Okay. What is the next mod to go with? So we talked about the power mod, busted. Next. No, we don't need to talk about creative pavilion. We just need to talk about Corviknight. I mean, Corviknight is OU. Like, it's literally the defining OU mon. Nothing's going to change that.
Yeah,
Like,
it'll be OU. I mean, if you want a hot take, when it's all said and done and the generation goes a little longer, it might end up going UU because lag of roost. But I think at the start, it's going to definitely be OU.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, it did get nerfed a bit with the lack of roost. But someone brought up a really good point. It's like unless you're a balance based team, generally speaking, you're not using all your roosts in a game. Like usually the amount that it was cut down to is usually the amount you end up using. And so I feel like in this metagame to begin with, like your team is probably at the start going to have to be straight HO, a weather, or it's going to have to be bulky offense. I don't feel like at the beginning at least balance and stall will be able to handle all the overwhelming mons that will be at the start. But I could be wrong. And Corbin and I could be chilling like, oh, this is all y'all have, this is all y'all got, and that's it. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely gonna start at OU. I guess the next mod to talk about is Blissey. That's definitely gonna have to be OU.
Yeah, just because limited Pokedex, only thing that really checks ghost types, for example, I'd say it's going to be OU. Not much more to say. It's Blissey.
And I think it is going to be. I haven't. Correct me if I'm not sure if you've analyzed it, but isn't that the only safe thing for Fluttermane?
I mean, the only safe thing for Fluttermane, yeah, but we'll find other things that'll work. It's just only true counter to start, yeah.
Yeah, and even then, as we very well know, is the good Blissey sets won't even be able to touch it. So you may see some people having to run, I guess, and I say good Blissey, like I'm talking about conventional everyone. Yeah, you may have to start using Shadow Ball, Blissey, whatever, and then when you start seeing things like that, that's when maybe this Pokemon isn't competitive for OU. Like when you start seeing Blissey using Shadow Ball, etc. But yeah. Azumarill, is that have any viability in OU?
I mean, Belly Drum will always be a little viable. It's probably more of a UU Pokemon for the list, though.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like the reason why I bring it again, because again we're talking about it from the perspective of it being limited. What I'm trying to see, because it won't have Tapu Lele, for example. Like there won't be any psychic terrains to stop it. I'm trying to think what prevalent mons will be able to really stop.
I mean, we just talked about the Meowthron, I don't know, Meowscarada.
Yeah.
That's a fast grass type. That'll live a +6 off, which, same with Quaqualava. You just really need fast water resist, and there are going to be enough of them in the tier, especially with a couple new fast water Pokemon, a fast grass Pokemon, and then the abundance of those that are already in the game. There are a couple dragon types that carried over. That should be able to take it out from lower house, and just initial pressure as is. So again, I think that like normal, Azumarill will be viable in OU, but it won't be great.
I'm not sure. Let me see something. Because you brought up Meow, and I do think that will be the offensive measure for it. Because the thing is, it starts out with 70. 76 HP, and then as far as the defense, it's 70. So if you're not, no one's really going to be running a bulky set, or I would say maybe because of Azu, because I just feel like Azu will be very scary, because if it gets that +6 adamant Aqua Chest it does 72.3 to 85.3. So if that gets chipped down a bit, I think Azu could be a problem to say the least. But did it lose knockoff though? That's a really important thing. It could have lost. It
I
probably
think
did.
so, which is definitely limiting. I think Azumaro's probably going to be squarely in the UU tier.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it probably lost knockoff. Let me analyze it.
It did.
It did. Okay. Yeah, so it losing knockoff, not being able to like knock off and take out. Well, actually, it probably can maybe or at least come close to taking out Pex with return, maybe. Cause
Is that in the game?
Wait, does it? Do we even have return? Maybe not.
I don't think
I'm
so.
just going off of past generation. Oh, it did get bulldoze. Oh.
There you go.
Okay, well, here we go. But yeah, so Azu's probably gonna start out around UU, but shoot, sounds very scary to say the least.
Oh yeah, it'll be good on hyper offense as always.
And another thing, and you know what? It may actually be really. Oops, I was about to put the wrong mon up there, but I clicked it for a reason because I was thinking of it. Is it will be a nice HO quick measure for a Roaring Moon.
Yes.
As it's able to, either does it you can't hit it with Dragon Attack, of course. It resists Dark, of course. So I don't know if I'm pretty sure it should be if it's not able to OHKO it, then that's a whole nother conversation. It definitely should be. That's 4 times, and yeah, I'm sure that's 100% a OHKO. But yeah, so Azu. Was was Azu in the game in Generation 8? Did we even get to use it? Do you recall?
Yeah.
It was? Okay.
Yeah, it was always more fringe, but yeah.
What tier was it in?
I think it was in UU.
Okay. So yeah, Azu will keep in UU. But as I say, guys, like I could see it being very scary and also an amazing offensive check to Roaring Moon, and also it will pressure potentially all the rain teams that we could be seeing. I could definitely see it being a menace for sure. Let's see. Next Pokemon that I imagine is viable to talk about. Azu. Next. Clodsire. Clodsire's news. I came. Clodsire. I don't believe Clodsire should be viable in OU, so we'll just move on to the next one. Just looking at the base stuff. Gengar. Okay, Gengar is a very familiar OU Pokemon, but I do believe it will be UU. As every generation goes on, it kind of becomes not as prevalent, or there's better options.
So, here's my thought on that.
Okay.
I think it'll end up in UU, but I think it'll start out in OU with the limited decks. There aren't as many options. It might get outclassed initially, but some things could get banned that might enable it ultimately. So we could see like it starts in UU, then goes up to OU, then goes back down to UU when there are more Pokemon type of ordeal. But we could probably start out in UU, and it could always see interchangeability.
Now I don't know Fluttermane's defenses like that, but maybe Gengar is maybe not able to revenge it potentially, but come close to revenging it. Maybe it needs a chip of rocks or something. But yeah, like Finch is saying, it will probably start on OU, and maybe we'll see Choice Scarf Gengar be a very nice revenger to Fluttermane potentially. So.
Yeah, I mean, right now Fluttermane's gonna outclass it, so it might start you. But if Fluttermane were to get banned, which many think will happen, you could see Gengar being used in OU in 2 weeks or a month, and then from there. So you could put it in the UU or OU, and you could justify either way.
We'll probably what we'll do is we'll put in the middle, and we'll just call it UU ban list because it's probably right in the middle.
Sounds good. What's next?
Next is this thing called Dachshund, but I don't think that's OU by any means. But but again, I've never seen them on, so let me just double check because I don't want.
No, it's a lower tier Pokemon.
Yeah, no, it's a lower tier Pokemon for sure. Okay. Next. Stop me if I'm passing anything that potentially could be OU. I think everything I'm passing is no way it should be OU.
No, you're good. You're good.
I saw you bring up another Staraptor. Is that OU by chance? Did I miss something with Staraptor?
No, I mean, I think it's always been a UUBL Pokemon, so giving it another shot would be fine. And it might see some fringe usage with the limited Pokedex, Corviknight not being quite as good.
Yeah.
Maybe you could run like a heavy duty boot set with Roost. I don't know. Intimidate's always helpful. So, UUBL, UU, nothing too crazy.
Okay. Let's see if I can find Staraptor on this list. We'll put in UUBL. Because I mean, even with Corviknight around, and yeah, as you said, we got heavy duty boots. Let's be very clear, guys. Like Corviknight, it's going to be in this metagame. It's most likely, at least at the start, it's most likely going to be heavily pressured. So like your Corviknight is probably going to be able to handle maybe one, where if two Mons, and then it could open up the floodgates for another Mon that like this is going to be a very I feel like heavily offensive metagame at the start. We'll see how things play out, but Corviknight could get very easily overwhelmed. And I cannot find Staraptor, so I guess I'll have to find another time. Let's see. Next we have. I think that shouldn't be viable. Oh, Breloom. Breloom, I feel like it's definitely something to talk about for sure. Breloom, I feel like the most important thing about Breloom, and I hope it shouldn't have lost Mop Punch. It should still have it. Oh, I can't find Breloom on either of these.
It'll probably be UU.
You think it'd be okay? So I typed it in wrong. That's why I can't find Breloom. I added too many E's. So here's the thing why I think Breloom will definitely start out OU and will stay OU until we figure out how busted or if Roaring Moon is busted is because of Roaring Moon. I feel like Roaring Moon is probably the scariest Mon I've seen. Now Fluttermane is pretty scary as well, but it may be from past trauma of like Salamence getting any type of boost like Mega Salamence and just dominating, and so. I can see Roaring Moon being very scary, and I think that we really got to think of again, because I feel like the metagame will be so offensive. I feel like Breloom, it being able to, I'm not sure if it's able to revenge. I doubt it's able to revenge, and I may be wrong. It could be able to, but Life Orb, Mop Punch, if not revenges, it will do a ton. It will come very close. I can run the calc probably pretty soon, but of course Breloom is going to have the access to. Wait, did it lose access to Spore? I think it lost access to... Oh, snap. That's a big deal.
Yeah, that would be huge.
I think it did. I don't see it unless I may be being blind.
Is Spore in the game?
Oh, yeah, maybe they removed Spore from the game. Okay, well, I don't see Spore. So
yeah, I'm only seeing Cotton, Spore, and stuff. Wait. Breloom. Give me 1 second here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mouth Punch, Stun Spore.
Yeah, Spore's in the game,
counter.
But I don't think it has it.
No, it's now an RU Pokemon.
Yeah, I mean, so it losing Spore is a big deal.
It does get close combat now.
Yeah, it does get close combat, which is pretty important. I mean, it's because of the the ability technician, it will always be good. But it losing Spore is a very, very big deal. But if anything, maybe what we'll see because of lost Spore, we'll see people use Stun Spore and be like, it'll pair anyway, as I said.
Oh, wrong move. Sorry.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could see it being somewhat viable. But, you are you for sure.
Yeah, sounds good. All right, I'll put it in UU. But yeah, as I was saying, guys, I could see it. I can see some of you guys using it at the start, potentially as, your team is trying to have something that can handle Meow and potentially handle also the Roaring Moon, as those are both going to be very prevalent dark typing. And dark typing in general is going to be probably very prevalent in OU because of, as I mentioned before, Roaring Moon and Meow. And then you have to think about there's probably going to be their teams are probably going to build where they make sure that they have Ghost Resist because you don't want to lose to Fluttermane potentially spamming Shadow Ball, whatever Ghost move it learns. So, Breloom's definitely something to keep in mind. Hopefully I can find it in a second. But nonetheless, we'll go on to the next Mon. And we'll skip. I don't think any of these should be anything to worry about.
You skipped half the Pokedex.
Garchomp. Garchomp is going to be...
Oh, you. Yep.
At the start, we already know it's OU. It always is OU. We have to keep in mind, and we haven't mentioned it a lot during this video because we really are unsure again how it will be used. Because and also if we did it, we could do it probably for every single mon. Like technically speaking, if we wanted to, we could probably make almost a lot of the mons that we mentioned that aren't even OU and UU. If we bring up them using Terra Blast, yeah, they probably have some OU viability. I mean, Terra Blast, the way that it sounds and the way that we expect it to be, it's going to be amazing. And a mon like Garchomp, which is already OU, literally like the definition of OU for many generations, it getting the ability to Terra Blast will be very scary. But yeah. Finch, what you got with Garchomp?
I mean, it's always been a top 10, 15 OU Pokemon. You know, it might be top 5 with limited dex. Premium with the ground typing coupled with premier speed stat and a high attack stat. Good coverage all around, complemented by Terra Blast, allowing, you know, it to run something like fire to hit something like Corviknight, for example, and Steel types that aren't earthquake prone, therefore making it pretty much flawless coverage wise and half neutralizing the 4 times weakness to ice as well. Just as an example there. All in all, Garchomp is going to be a great revenge killer, a great breaker, a great sweeper, a great rocker, great utility Pokemon, you name it, it's going to be there. It's just the epitome of a top half of OU Pokemon.
Yeah, for sure. And what we could see, guys, is we could see at the beginning, again, you got to keep in mind, what we're going to be dealing with. I believe Choice Scarf Garchomp will be able to revenge. Let me check that. Maybe.
Yes.
It should be able to revenge Roaring Moon, right?
I don't see why not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure speed tier wise it should be able. So we could see, Choice Scarf Garchomp popping back up. Something to think about. Because you guys got to remember, we haven't gotten to the completely extremely scary mons yet. But so at least I'm thinking of perspective of okay, what's going to handle these mons, and I think that's one of it. Next is Pelipper. I mean, Pelipper is going to be OU. I think that's. I don't even think that. I think it's all really self-explanatory why Pelipper is going to be OU because people are going to use Rain. And Rain, what's funny? Rain actually is going to be. I feel like a little. It's going to be scarier when the DLCs come along than initially. Because there's gonna be I believe the Hussein Pokemons will be bogged down, and there's this amazing one. I think it's Skulldridge or something like that. That's able to get adaptability along with being a water and ghost type, and has a fantastic attack stat. So that mon it's probably gonna be very scary and start some conversations. But yeah, I mean, Finch, you agree Pelipper should start at OU perfectly fine?
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I'm not...
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
I mean, Rain is Rain. There are going to be ample abusers. It's just how the tier's going to be,
Yes, sir. Okay, Pelipper, easy. Next, I'm trying to go a little faster, guys. Gyarados. Okay, so Gyarados... I would say the main reason why we could potentially see it in OU and it actually staying OU is because, again, guys, of Terra Blast.
And I think, sorry to interrupt, but he only gets great coverage with Power Whip, Ice Fang, Bounce, Earthquake, all that, but Terra Blast means that it can really handpick its checks and counters. So while it's a pretty limited Pokemon due to speed and typing, it's going to find a niche in OU.
Yeah, for sure, and you guys gotta consider is that it also will be able to use heavy duty boots, so it won't have to worry about getting potentially chipped by rocks. It will have access to the amazing abilities of Intimidate or Moxie, so either it will get an easier Dragon Dance, or it will be scarier if it kills something after a Dragon Dance. It can pick. So as far as move pool goes, it did lose no, it still has Earthquake. So that's very important because it needs to get past Pex. I think it has all the moves it needs. Does it have a good flying, physical flying? I think if anything, Terra Blast will take care of it never having a good physical flying move. Yeah, it doesn't have a good one. So Terra Blast will take care of that.
Yes.
Which is very important. So I'm personally, I feel like I feel like Gyarados is definitely going to be OU. I mean, we have literally kind of evidence of it in the past with Gyarados when Z moves are around. I believe it was it, I don't remember if it was UU or UUBL, but it was definitely prevalent in OU, and it was a scary mon on certain teams, as that Z move flying would just eviscerate a Ferrothorn. Usually, as that's the measure for it. And you guys got to remember, as I said before, Rain will probably be pretty scary. And this is a mon that I can see not only a Rain team using, but an HO using to have a soft check to Rain. So
I'm with you there. I think it's kind of multi-purposeful in the sense that it could be an anti-meta Pokemon, but it could also kind of be the meta, and that's going to keep it OU standalone.
Yeah. Let's see. Next. Doug Trio. Well, you already announced that Arena Trap will not be coming back at the start, so that won't be viable. Haxorus, no. Annihilate. I don't believe is any good. Yeah. It's not a OU. It's not really OU. It does get the. What I will say about Annihilate, it gets Defiant. Its speed is okay. It has pretty fair typing. I mean, Ghost Fighting is pretty legit.
I think it's got too much going against it in pretty limited factors. It's probably more of a UU Pokemon in my opinion.
Yeah. I feel like it will be pretty safe to put that in UU. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is on my list. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Next one. Oh, did I pass it? No, I didn't pass it. Okay, good. Lucario skip. I believe we can skip Armarouge and Ceruluge, I believe is how they're pronounced. We should be able to skip those. I think they're not.
Yeah, I don't see them being prospects right now. Maybe things can change, but
yeah. If anything, they'll probably be maybe RU or UU around that, but they won't be OU.
Now they probably RU and types.
Yeah, for sure. Next thing is Vaporeon, and I feel like normally we would skip over it, but the reason why I'm at least gonna bring it up is it got the access to. Say it again.
It's got a water immunity. We've been talking about a lot of water types. Yes. That's important.
Yes. It's got the water, so it's going to be very anti. If rain becomes very prevalent, it's completely anti-rain. Along with the fact that it also got access to Calm Mind now. And I believe it also has access to. I think I saw one set that was like Calm Mind, Rain Dance, Rest, and then like basically like copying the Manaphy set from the past. And Vaporeon may not have the amazing special attack that Manaphy has, but it does have amazing defenses. And with it being...
Vaporeon has better special attack than Manaphy.
Oh, really? Oh,
it's like 120, yeah.
Oh, I'm tripping.
I mean, it's much slower, but... Yeah, it's base 110 special attack, so... Manaphy's base 100.
Okay. If anything, I probably am so used to, a tail blowing up, I was just like, oh, this thing is busted, and I just,
Yeah, that's the difference.
Yeah, but no, I mean, definitely Vaporeon, I mean, do you think you can see it being OU because of the new things it's able to use, or is it going to be UU? Is it going to be
I mean, I still think it'll be UU, but...
Okay.
It could be viable.
Okay.
It's kind of fringe. I'm gonna say UU.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if anything, I think, we may even see Vaporeon be like, may even see some Vaporeon offs, like Vaporeon walling on the Vaporeons. Just because I can see that easily get out of hand. And then another thing to talk about is Umbreon. Umbreon got Calm Mind as well, which is fantastic for his pure dark typing.
Wish too,
Yeah, for sure. I don't know if it will be able to overwhelm anything, but it has access to Calm Mind. It has access to Wish. It has access to...
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna really move the needle, unfortunately. Obviously, there's some merit to it. There's some niche there, but ultimately, it's still got a pretty limited profile in terms of offensive prowess. I find it to be more of the profile of a premier lower tier utility wall than anything else, strictly told.
Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, yeah. I think
Sorry to
Umbreon.
burst your bubble.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think the Eves will definitely be around the UU. I mean, Sylveon. I can see Sylveon being very prevalent as well.
No quaff.
No Clef, along with the fact that I would hope, I haven't run calcs, but I would hope that Max HP, Max Defense will be able to handle Roaring Moon and then be able to kill it off with a Hyper Voice. So I think Sylveon will be pretty important for those balanced teams that are maybe try survivor, maybe even bulky offense. I mean, we'll see, but I think Umbreon and Vaporeon and Sylveon will all have their niches. I don't think. Do you think any of the other evolutions, for whatever reason, will have a niche or?
Nah, I'm gonna be real with you. I think they're more lower tier staples than anything else, unfortunately.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Let's see. Next. I think I can skip everything. I guess Amoongus, but I know I should be able to skip. Really shouldn't be able to talk about. But what we do need to talk about is I'm gonna skip Magnezone because I feel like Magnezone honestly is not going to be that important. I don't think it's going to be to move it. I don't think there's any reason for it to be OU. I mean, can you think of anything?
I can't think of anything. No,
Okay.
honestly, unfortunately, we're in a pretty limited spot at the moment with it.
Got you. But what I want to talk about is right next to it is Ditto. I feel like Ditto at the start will most definitely be OU. It will probably be very, very prevalent for, I mean, reasons as we've already discussed during this video. It's going to be able to revenge all the scary mons that we're talking about. Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to go deep into Ditto. I mean, if you guys have been playing competitive for a decent amount, you know how effective Ditto is. I mean, being able to run Choice Scarf, being able to revenge basically on everything that is trying to sweep, and then potentially you could even reverse sweep your team if you aren't careful enough. But yeah, I mean, Finch, what
Yeah.
do you think about Ditto?
I think Ditto in the early metagame is gonna be freaking awesome. I mean, not Dynamax tier awesome, real good. You know, definitely you.
Yeah, I think with Ditto, another thing, someone I was seeing in the forum, which was pretty smart and made sense that he was saying like if he was gonna keep like he was showing example like trying to keep Stall alive, and one of the mons that he had on that was Ditto. And if you are going to try to keep Stall alive with the limited options and how they've killed off Roost, you're gonna have to need a Ditto that just in case your mon gets overwhelmed. And can no longer roost or whatever, after the mon sets of SDs or so. Even though most players are going to be, I would say, smart with how they set up and be as safe as possible
Mm-hmm.
because they know how scary Ditto can be. But yeah, if you're going to be using a stall or even a balance, probably you're going to need a Ditto on your team. And the great thing about Ditto is with all of these new Pokemon, and especially new leads, etc., that we see with U-turns, specifically, being able to start off your game and lead off with Ditto. That's one of the great things about Dittos, and then you're able to scout potentially what set that your opponent is, and along with probably forcing it out. Like for example, the Meowmon. Like if you lead,
Mm-hmm.
off with Ditto, you're gonna most likely force it out because it doesn't want to die to U-turn. Along with if it has spikes on that set, and you also like have U-turn for whatever reason, as well on it, you can potentially just get a free spike up because the chances of you, if it depends on the player, it depends on how you play it, of course. Because shoot, if you set up a spike on it and they don't predict you to U-turn, and you're dead as well. So it's gonna be some mind games potentially with that, but
For
Ditto's
sure.
definitely going to be OU for sure at the start, and then we'll see how things progress. But I definitely think Ditto is going to be a very important Pokemon. Uh,
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I think it'll be good, not great to start.
mhm.
It's tough.
Yeah, guys, like another thing that's really important about Ditto is it's gonna also be able to copy, abilities like Swift Swim. So you're also gonna
Yeah,
have
that's a great point.
a way to handle rain with your Ditto as well. So, we'll see. We'll see how Ditto does. Next is Weave. So we've of course lost knockoff, which is a very big deal. It should still be OU. And like, don't get me wrong, it still should be OU even though it lost knockoff, but that is a pretty big deal. And yeah, Finch, what do you think about Weavile this generation?
Kind of viable, but not great. I think the dual stab combination is still going to be really prolific, and that's going to give us a chance to really see it at its absolute best. But unfortunately, it's still going to be pretty limited in what it can do. So,
Well, one thing it did get is it did get access, of course, to Terra Blast.
yeah.
Well, at least actually, does it? Can it learn Terra Blast? I'm not 100% sure because I think do you know if all the Mons learn Terra Blast or no actually all I think this one does. Yeah, I think all of them do. Okay, so yeah, this learns Terra Blast, and I think that with the ability to use SD, with the ability to have Ice Shard, it has Ice Shard, right? You know, I gotta double check now these days because the moves are just disappearing. Did it lose Ice Shard? Uh-oh.
Did it?
That's a pretty big deal if it lost. Oh no, it gets it with an egg move. Okay. Oh yeah, Finch, I got a question for you. When Showdown introduces the Mons and this Mon learns an egg move, but it's only able to get the egg move from a Pokemon that hasn't been it's not accessible in the game yet. How does Showdown handle that? Is it still like do y'all still like let it be used or it's not able to use it until that egg Pokemon gets introduced?
I think it's not usable in the game. It's tough.
Okay. So I'm not sure what egg. I'm not sure what Pokemon it learns Ice Shard from. So I'm not sure if it will be usable. Ice Shard will be usable at the start. But let's just say it is usable and it's able to learn that. The fact that it will have SD, it will have Ice Shard. We will have Terra Blast. One thing is we will be able to get past the menace that is Toxapex. Like we'll be able to which is usually its biggest counter in this case. It will be able to get past that because it'll be able to just hit Terra Blast ground and it's gone.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty big bonus to it, honestly.
And I'm not sure. Maybe you may even be able just to click Terra Blast and also just get off whatever. What is the strongest dark move now? What is this?
I'm not too sure.
Is it Throat Chop? Something like Throat Chop? Let me see. I'm trying to see. What is it now? It got beat up. It got Icicle Crash still. I'm trying to figure out what is the strongest dark move. What in the world? What is it? Does it have a strong? Gotta have a strong dark move. Right? Did they really give it nothing?
Maybe I'm blanking.
I'm literally like looking right now, and I do not see like a strong dark move on it, and it's like, what is going on? Did they really just like leave it out to dry?
Yeah, I think so.
Wow. So maybe we won't be it, guys, because it does not have a strong dark move, which is like one of the most important things it needs. That's crazy. Or maybe this thing is missing something. I'm kind of surprised and shocked. Okay. So Weave may not be it. Weave may just have to chill in UU, and I guess we'll probably have to just put it in UU for the time being, no?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say UU, maybe RU before OU, but probably UU for now.
Yeah. Okay, next. Skip. Bramble Gas is a new Mon, and if I remember correctly, when I was briefly glancing at Bramble, it had, at least in my eyes, if not OU Viability, UU Viability, and it gets Infiltrator guys. It has this new ability called Wind Rider.
It's got really high attack, but everything else is kind of mid.
Yeah.
It's got Wind Rider.
Yeah, Wind Rider, and what does this do? Okay, so Wind Rider boosts the Pokemon's attack if Tailwind takes effect, and if the Pokemon is hit with a Wind move, this Pokemon also takes no damage from Wind moves. So, for example, guys, at least from how I understand that, if, let's say when Tornadus T comes back, if it tried to revenge it with a Hurricane, it's not taking that damage. And you gotta think, like, Hurricane's probably the most important flying attack, and it basically not being able to revenge by that important tech is going to actually be pretty dope for this Pokemon.
Yeah, I agree.
So it also gets the attack boost with Tailwind, and I seen a decent amount of Mons get some type of boost or some type of prevalence from Tailwind. It seems like Game Freak is really trying to make Tailwind actually potentially decent. So maybe will we even see Tailwind teams have viability? So I would say with Bramblegast is we'll have to see because we've really never seen Tailwind be extremely viable in OU. So it was like we can't even
Yeah, it's always been more fringe, been more of a double strategy, which could be as my position. Yeah, but in terms of our purposes, it's really pretty limited.
Yeah.
I hate to say it.
Yeah, so I mean, we certainly will have to see. So Bramblegast is the main thing. You think RU start out? What are we feeling?
I'm gonna say RU for this one actually.
Okay, RU. All right, let me see if I can find it. All right, I found it. Good. I'm about to say because I'm not trying to have you here all day, man. Let's see. Next month. I don't think any of them are worth talking about. Scissor is kind of worth talking about, and mainly because of the nerf it got. It lost Roost, but it also got and gained close combat over Superpower.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things improving. The other thing kind of stinks, kind of a trade-off. I don't think it's knockoff either.
Yeah, exactly. It loses ability to spam knockoff too.
So I think overall, probably gonna be more UU than OU.
Yeah, for sure. Of course, it has the amazing technician, but one thing I will say is Fluttermane will be maybe we'll see it in OU for a period of time because of Fluttermane, it being able to revenge it with Bullet Punch, or at least force it out. But at the same time, we have to think about Corviknight's still going to be around. Toxapex is still going to be around. So Scissor is probably going to be a UU, but an interesting OU option. And the main reason why it's going to be an interesting OU option is because of Terrablast. Terrablast will probably be able to help it blow past it, which main measure will be Toxapex and shoot maybe even get through some other things as well. But Scissor is probably going to be kind of like Gyarados, but a lesser version of it, and it's viable because it has the option to click Terrablast, and also it's able to be kind of anti-meta in a way as well. So we shall see. Hippo is going to be OU, not OU. How do you feel about Hippo?
OU. It's reliable. Hippowdon, nothing crazy.
Okay.
I can't see it dropping UU at the start until we have a larger Pokedex and more ground types,
Got you. But do you feel like Hippo, so what do you see Hippo switching into? Like when I think about Hippo, I honestly feel like Hippo's gonna be not obsolete, but
here's my thought that I think Hippo's gonna be really good at baiting Terrablast, baiting Terra's position. In that it's going to have a lot of Pokemon, that are going to hit ground types that are, electric types or rock types or whatever it may be, because they're going to need to, and they're going to get that coverage. But baiting that, in a sense, could be a strategy for Tony. There could be some finesse surrounding it. You could see it as part of a defensive core, because if not every team has hyper offense, if there are some balanced teams, then Hippowdon would be a great candidate for that.
Yeah, in fact, no, I hear you. That makes complete sense. Yeah, so Hippo should stay OU. We will see. Next mon is Volcarona. Volcarona most definitely will stay OU. As long as Heavy Duty Boost is around, it will stay OU. And we'll get into the Volcarona evolutions later on. But yeah, I mean, Volcarona, man, I mean, it should be just fine scaring everything, no?
I happen to agree with you, yeah. Especially limited decks, less things that check it. Definitely going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, there's no heat. I mean, the most important check to it's not there. The key trend's gone. It's not here yet. We will see it return when the DLCs drop. But for now, Volcarona is, fantastic to roam around. And I'm sure Finch remembers Volcarona was some people were talking about suspecting it. It wasn't gaining any momentum, but it was very, very scary and overwhelming. The era of Volcarona and Cinderace was ridiculous.
It agree. Yeah, it had a little too much going for it, and that team was shaping not around focusing on it. So now that we see more heat trend, stuff like that, more guard chomp, it's not as good in SS. Of course, it's still pretty good. But I think the metagame, will definitely be friendly to Volk to start, and we'll see how it reacts, basically.
100%. Next we have Salamence, and I think that Salamence is just as viable as not as Roaring Moon. But I do think Salamence will be pretty scary, and it's going to be because of Terra Blast. I could even see Finch. I could even see like teams like Roaring Moon and Salamence. Yeah, exactly. I could see those guys on the same team because basically the same measures they would have, they'll get rid of for each other to the point where you're just going to get overwhelmed. And they both have ridiculous move pool coverage. So you could see yourself putting together a team where, like, basically, like you'll throw Thunderfang on the other one for Corviknight, for example, on Salamence, you'll throw, like, Thunderfang, get rid of Corviknight, or at least weaken enough so when Roaring Moon comes in, it doesn't have to worry about getting pressed or getting chipped with press. I could see it easily like being very overwhelming and very scary. And so if Salamence is not at least at the beginning, OU, I definitely feel like it's gonna be maybe UUBL or UU. How do you feel?
I think it actually might be OU.
Okay. Yeah, we'll put in OU. Next, I don't think Ticussing is viable, so I'm gonna move on. It should be Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl gained some cool things, if I recall, and that's the reason why I'm gonna.
Yeah, let me find it here.
Let's see. So Grimmsnarl. Let me see if there. I feel like there was something really dope it got, but I forgot.
I guess Nasty Plot. Not really, honestly. I mean, what does False Surrender do again?
I'm gonna look at. I generally. I don't think that's a new move, so I don't think it's on this dex. Yeah, I don't. I just remember someone bringing up. I think I forget who brought it up, but they were bringing up like Grimmsnarl actually like being a problem, but I forget.
I think it'll just be because the pace of the metagame that a prankster screens Pokemon is gonna be good. But
yeah. And that's probably why we'll see it. Let's see. It False Snarl inflicts damage, bypass accuracy checks, always hits. Okay, so nothing crazy. Okay. So yeah, I even thought maybe it would be a nice, at the beginning, I was thinking, okay, well, maybe this will be a nice check to, Roaring Moon, but the only reason why I don't think it actually will be is mainly because of how, Prankster works now and how you aren't able to get that advantage of Prankster on Dark types. So, Roaring Moon, won't be able to T-Wave it.
Yeah, I mean, it really isn't going to be as favorable a match as one would imagine, unfortunately. Overall, Grimmsnarl is probably going to be more of a UU option.
Okay, sounds good. I'm gonna try to speed through this a little fast. I'm not even gonna try to add it to the to the chart so we can try to cover more and get this done because we've got a little more to go to. I hope I'm not taking up too much of your time, man.
No, man, it's fine. I mean, we're 75% of the way done with these Pokemon, I think, at this point, so we're getting through.
Okay, let's see. Hawlucha. Oh no, actually no. It's not Hawlucha. Okay, so Palafin. Palafin is interesting because of its hero form. I'm not sure. Palafin is honestly, in my opinion, the most like I could see it being like its floor. Its floor is low and then at the top it's high too. And the reason why I say that is because I'm not sure how people are going to use it, but the thing that really is like makes it really scary to me is if when it does get to its hero form, it has 160 attack.
Yeah, I'm really trying to see how that's going to play out. I feel like it's more theoretically, is that going to apply often enough? Is that going to be enough to move the needle, or are we going to see this as more of a middle of the lane Pokemon? And I personally think it is probably going to be a little more underwhelming than some others, but I've heard high hopes about it from others, so I'm a little conflicted.
Yeah, I mean, I literally can't even, like, I don't know how good it will be. I really don't know. It gets ability to flip turn, which is important. So I was thinking, if anything, you could lead. Like, if you get a good lead, I'm thinking, like, and from the perspective, I think, if anything, if it's going to be effective, it's going to be on rain and when it's going to be effective. I'm thinking, I'm not sure if it'll be possible because of the hassle of pulling it off. But if you're able to lead with Palafin and at least get a flip turn off or get it into its hero form at the beginning of the battle as early as possible, or even use, like, for example, eject button. I'm not sure if eject button is, but this is hypothetical. I'm not sure if eject button's in the game, but able to eject button into the game. I could see some gimmicks like that potentially working, because once it gets into that 160 attack, along with rain, and I feel like with that 100 speed, you'll be perfectly fine running Choice Scarf, and then you really shouldn't get outsped by anything. Nothing's really going to be switching into you, buddy. Like, you
Yeah,
feel,
no, at that point it becomes a fully fledged nuke. I agree.
and it does have. Let me see if any of these moves is stupid by any. Let's see. It gets this thing called Jet Punch, because I've never seen that before. Jet Punch. Okay, yeah, it gets, like, for example, it gets Jet Punch, and this move always goes first, apparently. So, and it's
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's 60 base power. And again, if it's able to get that in rain, it generally could be a very scary mon. Like, as I said before, I don't know. Like, I feel like we both just don't know.
Again, I think this is probably, we could say OU, and that's probably going to be its ceiling, and we'll kind of go from there. I like giving these type Pokemon a chance.
Do you think it could potentially even, like, be as fearsome as the fish Dracovis, or, like, it's just gonna stay OU?
I can't see it being banned as of what I know right now, but if ease of access in terms of gameplay and accessibility makes it better in the flow of the game, especially after the initial. I think initially it's going to be overwhelming, and over time it might get better, basically.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay. All right.
It's all theoretical right now. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We both don't know. We're definitely being there, because, like, shoot, a mon that we have in OU right now could be completely garbage, and we're talking about how do we even.
Vice versa. Yeah.
Okay. Next. Let me try to skip as quickly as possible. Okay. I want you to talk about this mon, because you said this is the mon that you're very excited when we were talking a little earlier. And that is Sizzler. I believe Sizzler.
Sick Lizard.
Yeah,
Sick Lizard? Sick Lizard? I don't know. It is a sick lizard. I mean, look at it. I think it's awesome. It's this generation's cool regenerator Pokemon. It's got Dragon normal type, so it's not even, like, glued to heavy duty boots like Tornadus Cheese, for example. 121 base speed is awesome. The Dragon typing allows for it to make up for some middling attacking stats, 95, 85 respectively. It's got access to Taunt and Rapid Spin and U-Turn. It's just going to be really a generationally defining pivot, in my opinion. I know it doesn't look super flashy, but you've got options to all the utility you need between U-Turn and Rapid Spin, that great speed tier, Taunt. It's going to be a really great anti-offensive tool, just because Dragon Stab is going to be great. You pair it with, like, a strong Steel or Poison type to abuse Fairy type Shilorian. I think it's going to go a long way. Especially speaking, it's got some decent coverage. It also has access to Shift Gear on the physical side. You could maybe even see it running like a surprise offensive set. I believe it's got access to Ice coverage, Dragon coverage, Fire coverage, like Draco Meteor, Overheat. Thunderbolt. I can see it more as a utility Pokemon. I think it's going to be under the radar. I think a lot of people aren't going to realize how good it is at first, because offensively it's pretty mid. Like, offensively it's more RU, UU, but in terms of having Regenerator, that speed, Rapid Spin, U-Turn, I think it's bound to be a long time OU Pokemon. Okay. It's like a better Noivern,
Yeah. I like that comparison for sure. I could definitely see it. We won't have turning ST at the beginning, so I could see potentially, this mon trying to maybe take its place in a bit.
Because no Rock Week too, so it could run like specs if you want to throw that on it and make it like a fast nuke, or you could run bulky sets with spin plus U-turn, really threaten things out. I mean, I like with all the coverage it has. I think when we're kind of waiting throws unpredictability, it'll be a staple as a fast pivot on your bulky offensive teams, basically.
Okay. Next,
also gets snap up.
That's very important. And guys, like, a lot of these mons, like, we have a lot more hazards. Like hazards is going to be really important, and the lack of again, as I mentioned earlier, rapid spinner defoggers, like it's going to come into play really big this generation. You may see yourself using heavy duty boots a lot more than you did later
Yeah.
on. Halucha should be. I don't know honestly, because terrain, it won't have any terrain inducers at the beginning, so I don't think Halucha's gonna start out pretty high. So I think actually we can move on. We don't need to really talk about Halucha.
I mean, it could run like Guy Attack sets like it used to
Okay,
in Warhouse.
yeah.
More UU. More UU.
Yeah, I hear you. Okay, Dragapult. Dragapult should not stop being as good as it is.
No, Dragapult's going to be the best OU Pokemon. I theorize that with the lack of normal checks to it being metagame, it could even go Ubers eventually. But I think at the start, it's clear cut OU.
And so, why do you think it potentially could hit Ubers at the start this generation instead of last generation?
There are less checks and counters to it. Weavile is still going to be in the metagame, but it loses knockoff. It's less good. Some dark types are no longer in a tier. Some fairy types like Clefable no longer in a tier. Toxapex has less recovery, less move pool. A lot of the defensive things that were really used to kind of subdue it don't have access to knockoff, aren't as good, don't have all the same tools, less recovery PP. If games are drawn out, Specs Dragapult late game when recovery PP is all, forget about it. Less knockoff, forget about it. It's just Specs Dragapult, in my opinion, is going to be really good, especially when like the really broken things to start get banned. I think it'll probably settle as like an OU staple, like a top of OU Pokemon again, but there is a world where Dragapult gets banned eventually, yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I completely understand that. I mean, Dragapult is very scary. I think that if anything, we may see its DD set being more prevalent than it abusing its special attack. This mon is we also have to consider is it will have the ability to use Terra Blast potentially as well. And I believe I heard that, for example, in Generation 8 National Decks, they banned Dragapult because it had the ability to use its Z move in Ghostium. So it was too overwhelming in that tier. Just because of the simple fact it was able to use Ghostium, which makes complete sense because I can see that easily being just one DD and that's a guaranteed kill.
Yeah, you're right.
So we could see that be the case, we could see it getting guaranteed kills and like Finn, yeah, it could be just have to be Uber. And much as we'd hate to see it go, I could definitely see it just being too much and it has to go. So.
Well, yeah, for now, OU for sure, and we'll see what comes of it,
Rotom, Heat, Rotom, Water. Where do you think the Rotoms are gonna be?
I think both Heat and Water are gonna start OU like last generation.
Okay.
Boots coupled with extra resistances, and Terra Ice is gonna make Rotom Heat really interesting in the start of the generation. Whereas Rotom Wash might be more of a utility option. I don't think it really needs Terra with its typing as much. But I think it's just a standalone OU Pokemon. And then Rotom Mow, Rotom Frost, I feel like they're more lower tier oriented as they historically have fallen into.
Okay. Yeah, I do think Rotom, I can see it completely being good, and I can also see it for some reason being irrelevant because potentially maybe it gets overwhelmed. I think also a thing that's important is usually why Rotom is prevalent at the start is because it's able to handle the most threatening mons. For example, reason why Rotom Heat was so good as a pivot is because of Cinderace. As Cinderace fell off, Rotom Heat's viability started to decrease. I don't believe any of the scary mons that come to mind right now. I don't think Rotom is going to be extremely prevalent because I just can't think of it really handling any of the scary mons. Now, don't get me wrong, like it will be bulky enough to be able to take the hits with T-Wave, whatever, but it's basically going to be dead. And it won't really have accomplished all of its goal because, like, for example, past generations, Rotom Wash was so good because you could use it as a switch into basically almost every single Azumarill set. And for example, if it Belly Drum, you could also revenge it with a nice full switch, or you got very close to revenging or whatever. Like, I don't know if Rotom will be amazing, but we've always seen it somehow have great viability. If anything, probably what we may see is after some bans happen, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it might start mid and then become kind of good. It might start kind of good and then get real good. It's never going to be a metagame defining force. It's never going to be that guy, but
Mm-hmm.
it'll be there in the background, still doing its job, just like always. That's how I feel.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Next we have Tyranitar.
OU?
Tyranitar
Oh,
is always OU. And we're going to need something to handle these ghost attacks. Because we already mentioned Dragapult.
Dragapult.
We haven't even mentioned Fluttermane yet. But I mean, Tyranitar 100% is going to be OU. Do we start off with Excadrill as well? No, we don't get Excadrill. So we may not see a prevalent of T-Tar and Excadrill that we're used to seeing, but there may be some other Amon that's able to potentially effectively use Sandrush that I may not know about in the regional decks. I'm not 100% sure, but it may just be T-Tar by itself, no partner in crime. But nonetheless, something that we do have to consider is I believe T-Tar got some. I think its move pool's pretty decent.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything out of the ordinary. Tyranitar can do more or less what it wants. It's restricted by its speed and the 4 times weakness to fighting, the weakness to water, and hazard vulnerability, but overall, it's going to be one of the better Pokemon.
And guys, I think that you could see DD Tyranitar be viable. Because of the Terra Blast. Like, I'm sure some of y'all may get sick of us talking about it, and don't get me wrong, Terra Blast could literally be gone in a week. But, Tyranitar with... The reason why I bring this up is because when Z-moves are around, Tyranitar DD set had some viability. It actually was a set that could really surprise a team that was improperly prepared. So you could see that Tyranitar set being viable, because then we have to also remember, as much as we brought up Salamence and Roaring Moon being a nice duo, we could see this Tyranitar and also the Paradox form that it got, which was electric, and we'll talk about that in a second. We could see them teaming up in some way as well to clear out its checks and measures potentially. But I could definitely see DDT-Tar potentially being a threat. Of course, its speed tier is unfortunate and not the greatest, but not everyone's speed is the greatest at the beginning. And as we very well know, T-Tar has amazing bulk, so it's able to, in some cases, even get 2 DDs up. So, yeah, I mean, do you think that could potentially be the case?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think day 1 it'll be more focused on the utility, but by, day 10, yeah, I can see that, yeah.
Okay. So, OU Tyranitar will be... then we have a Slowbroke, Slowking, and Gastro. We're gonna knock all 3 of those Bulky Waters because they basically serve the same purpose of being Bulky Waters. Slowbro being the physical switch and Slowking being the special switch, and Gastro can be a little bit of both. And honestly, they all can be a little bit of both. It depends on how you do your EV spread. But one thing that they all basically benefit from is the lack of knockoff distribution.
Couldn't agree more.
So they all will be OU, or if not OU, UUB. Not UUBL, but UU or
OU or high UU that has usage in OU.
Yeah. Let's see. Cloyster. Cloyster should be OU. No. At the start, at least.
I think it'll get a shot in OU at the start. I think it's a dynamic Pokemon, maybe one of the more controversial ones, but I'm certainly fond of it. I think that we'll be seeing some of it, maybe even a surprising amount of it.
Yeah, I definitely do think. The way I think of Cloyster is I'm thinking of as many hyper offensive or offensive measures that can actually handle Roaring. I can see it potentially handling Roaring Moon. Of course, I'm not talking about if your Roaring Moon is able to click Terra Blast on it or anything like that. But let's just say it's a common basic set, a non-broken set. Cloyster may be able to handle that and also not knock it down with Icicle Spear. And then even if it isn't able to take it out, Icicle Spear for whatever reason, because I don't know the calcs, he can maybe revenge it with Ice Shard, So I can definitely see Cloyster being viable and scary, especially because, as I said before, I feel like it will be a HO based metagame. Next is everyone's favorite Pokemon, Toxapex. Now, Toxapex lost Scald, Finch. Very big deal.
and it lost knockoff, and it has half the recovery fee, but it's still going to be OU.
Yes, 100%. I couldn't agree more. You guys all know how good Toxic is. I mean, we're not even gonna go deep into Toxic because we already mentioned Toxic enough in this video and what it's able to basically stop. So, if you need to refer back to how good Toxic is, just go back a little bit. Next is Dragonite. Dragonite is gonna be scary. It potentially could be very, very scary because of Terra Blast.
I think it already has the tools to be OU standalone.
Yeah.
Couple that with the fact it's getting another coverage toy, to hit those steel types, hit those fairy types. I think it's going to stand out as a really potent Pokemon. It's going to be very hard to resist. I think you got to, fit the move spot in there the right way, but all in all, it's pretty great.
Next is, and I was just not typing in Ninetales to make sure I didn't miss Ninetales being in this game, but Abomasnow. The reason why I'm mentioning Abomasnow is because now Hail is now called Snowstorm, and it will be the Pokemon that will be able to introduce potentially a new era for Hail. Hail, I believe it's Ice Pokemon now get the defense boost. So we could see Hail actually. Now Hail actually had kind of some relevance, a hint of it, a little spice of relevance. Not only because of Veil, but more so because we saw the combination of Ninetales and Arcazult, I believe is the name. At least.
Yes, Ninetales and Arcazult, but also just Ninetales standalone with a synergistic offensive Pokemon really formed a dynamic offensive archetype in SSOU, but I think as VOU is going to see Snowstorm kind of redefine its niche, maybe a bit more defensively inclined, especially with the inclusion of heavy-duty boots. But I still think it's going to be pretty limited. I don't think it's going to be the best weather at all. I think that sand might still stay mainstream, but it'll have a niche.
Yeah, and so I mean that's the main reason why I'm bringing up Abomasnow. I mean, I'm not going to really talk about any of the other ice Pokemon because we really don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, we may have to come back because I believe this new Pokemon called Ceotan gets Slush Rush and it has decent attack. So we could see Hail actually be very fearsome, but we really don't know. So we're really just gonna skip by it for now, but we'll pivot back in the future potentially if we need to. So next is Bisharp and King Gambit. Now, King Gambit's pretty funny because if you guys know, I made a video and you guys lived in it, I really appreciate it. But King Gambit, I felt, was actually going to be broken. It was going to be busted. It's probably going to need to be banned. But we found out that the way Game Freak did it, which was interesting, but completely makes sense because it's not busted, at least initially, as we can see, is its ability, a Supreme Overlord, is not going to take it from basically at the start +1, and if every single one of your moms die, it won't start out at +5. I thought if anything, if it wasn't going to start at +5, maybe it would start at +2.5 because the way that the description was that it would boost your attack and special attack. But it seems the way Game Freak did it, it starts at 1.1 and then the highest it goes up to is, I think it's either 1.1 or 1.2, and then the highest it goes up to is 1.6 if you come in as the last mon after all your Pokemon have fainted. Now, it may not be as fearsome as we thought it would be. But nonetheless, on an HO build, a free 1.6 without even having to click SD yet could be very good. Finch?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I'm really waiting to see how it plays until I get past judgment on it. Obviously, this is a prospect. It's a ceiling of it potentially being a top tier OU or even an Uber Pokemon given the abusability of visibility, but at the same time, I definitely think there might be also more of a limited scope. There might be people that are very on watch about it, especially in the early phases. So I think it's going to be something we're going to have to develop with and really see. I also think that the Eviolite Bisharp prospects might bring it to a new high ground in terms of viability, especially with all the ghost types we're seeing now.
Yeah. I mean, and with it, of course, having the ability to sucker punch. Having great stems, and I mean the very important thing though, of course, that it did lose knockoff. That's very, very important. And then before we move on to the next mon, Bisharp will also be OU viable. I feel potentially because of it getting now Eviolite, and it becoming hard to revenge and take out. It had decent distribution when it came to bulk. So we definitely could see Bisharp being very viable, of course, with Defiant. But the only thing I don't think it's going to really abuse the Defiant nature of it that much, mostly because of the fact, as I said before, guys, we're very limited when it comes to default currently. So, yeah. We'll see. We'll see how both of those mons do. Hydreigon.
Yeah,
Hydreigon
Hydreigon.
gained,
It'll also be like it's nice to have some dark types.
and it also gained Stealth Rock.
Yeah, it's true.
So we could definitely see some lead Hydreigons being prevalent. I mean, its move pool is massive and it is amazing. And let me see. Let me pull up the move pool real quick if I can find it. Yeah, but with it learning Stealth Rock now, that is fantastic. It still will have access, I believe, to Nasty Plot. Yeah, we'll still have access to Nasty Plot. Is there anything I'm? Oh, you know what we also could potentially see from Hydreigon is I said we mentioned Tailwind earlier. We could definitely see maybe being like a Stealth Rock Tailwind lead, as it also has Tailwind.
Yeah, like Stealth Rock, Taunt, Tailwind, Thunderwave type of niche utility hyper offense Hydreigon, kind of suicide lead where you get something status, you get your teammate fast, you get rocks up, and then you get something to go and just start killing crap.
Yeah, especially at the start because we won't have mons like Mew, who, generally speaking, would probably be your more ideal Pokemon for that role. We could definitely see.
Yeah, no Mew. I don't think there's Drill either.
Yeah, so I could definitely see Hydreigon being good. So we'll move on. I don't know what Veloza does. Dondozo, the reason why I'm going to mention Dondozo real quick is it is water. I'm pretty sure it's pure water typing if I recall. It also is unaware, and when I was analyzing Dondozo, it was one of the only mons that could handle some of these physical attacks. Most likely, most sort of like King Gambit I was running calculations on, but we could see Dondozo being viable because of its unaware ability. I'm not sure. I gotta see if it learns any recovery. That's a real big important thing because if it doesn't learn any recovery, I'm pretty sure it did if I recall, but I may be wrong. Dondozo.
We'll find out.
Let's see. Let me look it up. Dondozo, does it have any recovery? No, it does not. Only has rest, which is not good enough, so it will not be that good. So we can get rid of thinking about Dondozo. Okay, next one.
Yep.
Okay, now we're really getting to the nitty gritty. We're basically coming to the end. We're talking about the really good mons. Don't get me wrong. We've talked about some amazing mons, but we're talking about more so the mons that we've never been introduced to now at this point. And the first one would be Great Tusk. So Great Tusk, we are looking at. Let's see, where is it? I'm trying to find the. Okay, yeah. We're looking at 87 speed, 115 HP, 131 attack, and 131 defense. It will be ground fighting. It also has the ability Protosynthesis. Now, how Protosynthesis works is I'm not 100% sure if you'll be able to access it with Sun. To my understanding, you need to be in harsh sunlight, which is what the box cover Pokemon is able to introduce when it comes in the game. So I don't think its ability will potentially, in that shape, be amazing. But what we do know about Protosynthesis is that it's able to be activated by an item, and that item is called Booster Energy.
Yeah.
So we'll, if anything, see it use potentially. I mean, I'm not even saying we're gonna see it use Boost Energy because, if anything, what this Pokemon will be used for, and correct me if I'm wrong, Finch, I would say Rapid Spin, getting off the hazards.
Yeah, utility is gonna come a long way with it, in my opinion.
Yeah. Let me see. Let me go. I just want to make sure because too many moves are being lost. Can you confirm it gets Rapid Spin? I just want to make sure because. And if it doesn't learn Rapid Spin, it actually won't be as good as I think it will be.
I'm not seeing it on the list, so
oh boy,
hold up.
Jesus Christ, they're taking everything.
Yeah, no, I maybe I'm missing it. Are you seeing it either?
I see it. Yeah, it does get Rapid Spin. It's
I must have missed it then. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. At level 21, it also gets Taunt at level 14. That's dope. That's actually really dope.
All right, so basically we just can't use it at level 13.
Yeah. And let's see. Does it? Yeah. That's primarily what I can only see being used. So yeah, I mean, it'd be able to again get rocks off on your HO build potentially, or even your balance. I mean, we'll see, but it could be really dope. Next Pokemon we have is Screamtail. Screamtail is going to potentially be our quote-unquote replacement to Clefable, quote-unquote. I mean, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm not thinking it's going to be that good. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be different, but it doesn't even hit as hard as Clefable would with like Calm Mindsets or Moonblast because only 65 special attack, physical attack. I think it's going to be more of a faster utility option. I do like
Okay.
the Fairy Sack for typing, but I think we're going to be seeing really more of a mixed bag. I don't think it's going to be one of those big shiny new toys when we see all the offensive first, but I
Mm-hmm.
think when it comes down to it, it might be a Yu Yu Pokemon.
Okay. I mean that makes complete sense. Its move pool is amazing.
Yeah,
Um,
but it doesn't have the attack or special attack to abuse it, so it's really just utility moves.
yeah, no, you're 100% right. All it has right now that we can see that's very valuable is its HP, special defense, and then its speed. But other than that, so probably if anything, probably Scream Tail will be borderline UU. It may somehow even fall into RU. I mean, we'll see. Next is Brute Bonnet. I don't know, and I don't know enough about this mod honestly to even gain an opinion. I haven't seen a lot of discussion on it. I believe it will keep Spore. At least I hope it's able to keep Spore from Amoongus. Because if it doesn't keep Spore, I just don't see it being extremely
I think
prevalent.
Spore's in the game, dude.
No, oh no, I know Spore's in the game because I was able to see it with Amoongus. Amoongus did have
So
Spore.
Braylon just lost it.
Yeah, so I don't know why they took it from Breloom. I don't understand why, but they did give it to Amoongus when I was looking up Spore earlier. Um, but yeah, as far as Brute Bonnet learning it, let me see. I mean, that really is the most. Yeah, Brute Bonnet does learn Spore. So with it having the ability to Spore, it's going to be viable in some tier. I don't know which tier it will be. It may be an RU, maybe U Pokemon. I mean, it has 120 7 attack, which is very important. It has dope typing in Grass and Dark. I mean, Finch, what do you think? RU?
Yeah, are you? I'd say.
Okay. Um, let's see. Next is Fluttermane. Now, this is the Pokemon that
Uber.
I've seen probably the most discussion about. Wait. What'd you say?
Uber.
Oh, okay. Straight out the gate. Okay. So, explain to us why you feel like it's gonna be Uber.
So you look at the stat distribution and you just think, okay, you got one stat that's well over 100.
Mm-hmm.
That's already pretty damn awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine getting three at 135
Yeah.
and a good move pool.
Yeah.
You got Mystical Fire, you got Dazzling Gleam, you got Shadow Ball, all of the things. Size Shock. You got coverage, you got power. I believe you have access to boosting moves. I can't quite remember if it's Calm Mind or Nasty Plot in this regard. Encore with all
Calm
the
Mind.
speed. You Calm Mind. You got all this crap and then some. Hex on the right teams. You could run stored power sets if you really want. Well, I think it's more going to be a new Bex. You could run boosting sets. You could run sub 3 attacks. Icy Wind to really one-shot Garchomp. Thunder Wave with Hex could be a potential option. All these options. It's so strong, and it's got a good ability too, I believe, right?
Yeah, it has the Photosynthesis ability that, but I guess that's the only thing about the Photosynthesis ability is we're not sure if it activates with normal sunlight. I doubt it because they like to have everything combined with the cover. Game Freak is the thing about us. But if anything, it will be able to get the Photosynthesis with the access to, of course, the item. I believe, if I recall, Energy Booster is the item's name. Is it Booster Energy? Excuse me. And it's gonna boost its best. Whatever you EV'd it, I'm pretty sure, to my understanding, however you EV'd it, is gonna have what it is going to boost. So if you want to go for the special attack boost, you're gonna EV it for the special attack boost. If you want to go for the speed boost, if you're gonna probably, I guess, if anything, run a Calm Mind set. I would say if anything, we're probably gonna see people go for the speed boost, especially if they're gonna run a Calm Mind variant. But yeah, I mean, Fluttermane is gonna be pretty scary. The good thing about I would say the good thing for us facing Fluttermane is that its strongest fairy attack is Dazzling Gleam. It does not get access to Moonblast. So maybe what we'll see is Assault Vest Tyranitar be an option. Maybe you'll be able to kind of switch in a couple times. Of course, it won't be an absolute option. Of course, you're not going to...
I think that while there's going to be ways to contain it and minimize it to one kill at a time or one kill per game, I think it's going to be so centralizing that I can't see it lasting beyond the initial couple first days or weeks.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely understand and hear that. Let's see. Okay, yeah, so Fluttermane, we have put on Uber Watch. Okay. Next... of the Rusted Mons, we have Slitherwing. Now, when I saw Slitherwing, which is a variation, a Paramox form of Volcarona, I thought it was going to be very scary, but then more information came out about it.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, I don't know how good you will be, buddy. What we do know
Can I
about
interrupt for 1 second?
No, go on.
I just want to let you guys know that we're literally live time recording this, and PS is about to go live with Generation 9.
Hey! So. Oh man, this is gonna be fun.
Bad hype, man. Anyway, let's get back to it just restarted, but let's get back to Slitherwing. So it's a physical Volcarona, but it's got a totally different distribution. It's got fighting type as a secondary type, so it's not as reliant on heavy duty boots, but
yeah, it's back up. Scarlet and Violet, yeah, it's here.
Yeah, Scarlet and Violet is here.
That's dope.
We have it.
Did they?
This is
Let me see. Did they do all the? How well did they do on the sprites? I think the server's broken because I'm trying to hit add Pokemon and it will not let me hit it.
No, it's just laggy, dude.
Oh,
Everyone's
laggy.
just logging on.
Okay.
Everything's going crazy.
I'm not tripping. Okay. It should be really fun. So yeah, I mean Slitherwing. No, but go on. What you're saying about Slitherwing?
It just, unfortunately, the lack of speed it's just not ideal for it, in my opinion.
It has, to my understanding, it has no way to boost its attack. It didn't get Victory Dance or anything like that. It didn't get SD. So, if we do see it being used in OU, it's most likely going to be, I would say, in a banded. Oh no, actually no, it did get bulk up. Okay, so it actually did get that. That's actually pretty dope. Because actually, if it runs bulk up, it should be able to get potentially past. The reason why I say potentially is because it gets access to Equix, so it's able to hit the Fearsome Toxapex. It gets access to close combat, and it has I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be like UU Ari, honestly.
I hear you. Yeah, okay. The servers needs to restart because of a crash. Yeah, I felt like it crashed. It was, yeah, that's not surprising. Yeah, definitely a UU. Definitely a UU.
Yeah, we can put it there.
Sandy Shocks. It has honestly probably the dopest name out of. It reminds you of Sandy Cheeks. SpongeBob. Sandy Shocks is really dope. It has 101 speed, 121 special attack. But that's basically it when it comes to that. I think it will be UU or RU. No?
Yeah, no, I'm inclined to agree with you.
It has electric or ground, which is cool coverage to have. I mean, it doesn't have to worry about Lando T, for instance. I don't think it gets anything out of this world that is very threatening, but I haven't done a ton of research on it, so I may be wrong. It may be amazing. We'll have to see. Next is Iron Treads. Iron Treads. And Iron Treads is ground steeled. This one is 106 speed. It is faster than the one we mentioned earlier, which was Great Tusk. This one has 112 attack and 120 defense, but only has 90 HP. I'm really interested.
I think this might be the best one because of the
This
speed.
is going to be the best one. Okay. Yeah, I'm really interested in which one is going to be the best one. They really went hard for Dolphin this gen, and yeah, I'm really curious on what's going to be the most viable. Because one of them is going to be OU, one of them is probably going to be UU. That's probably how it's going to go, and at worst, one of them is going to be RU, probably. Now, it gets Quirk Drive, which is very similar to Pro Synthesis. It's just that Quirk Drive, if I recall, works on electric terrain, which is what the other cover legendary introduces. And the boost is going to be 1.5, and the boost for Pro Synthesis is also 1.5, which is very, very important. So we will see how viable that is, but for the time being, we will move on to the next mon. It's literally, I mean, you agree with me, it's going to be OU, UU, at worst RU for some weird reason, but it's going to be like around that.
Yes.
Iron Bundle. Um, do you know any information about Iron Bundle? Why it could be a threat?
I've just been told by everyone that it's going to be really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think with its special attack and speed combination and two good typings, I think it has access to like freeze dry too. So I think the coverage is going to be awesome. It's going to be strong and fast. I don't know if it's going to be broken, but it's going to be good.
Okay. Yeah. We honestly are. Let me look at Iron Bundle for a second. Let me just take a quick glance to see if it learns anything that's amazing. That's pretty scary. Gets freeze dry. That's important. Does it have any boosting moves? No, it doesn't have anything boosting. If anything, maybe what we'll see it on some maybe some rain variants because it has the ability to that ice coverage, so grass types can come in so easily. Maybe this is all hypothetical, guys. I'm not honestly sure. It does get access to U-turn, which is important. It's able to gain some momentum. So if of course, if something tries to switch into it, I think what's really important is that freeze dry element to it. So
Yep.
we could see it getting by some bulky water types a little easier. Especially if we run like a Specs variant, this could be potentially one of the scariest Pokemon to face in the metagame when it comes to rain. It could also be even scary on hail. We don't really know yet, but I'm more so looking at rain because rain, generally speaking, should be much more viable than hail. And then also its speed tier is 136, which I believe outspeeds everything, right? Or does Dragapult outpace it a bit?
I think Dragapult does outpace it. Yeah.
Let me see. So as far as speed tier goes, without a boost, the fastest Pokemon will be Dragapult in the regional deck. So yeah, Dragapult will be the fastest. So Dragapult will still be the fastest. But Iron Bundle will be literally right behind it. It matches Barra, Squada, I believe. I don't know, cute. I don't know.
Scooter.
Right, Barraskewda, and we know that very well from it being a powerful mon on rain. But yeah, so I could see that Pokemon being amazing potentially on rain and potentially just scary overall. I mean, we really will have to see how people abuse it. The only thing that, of course, that does suck is that because of the ice typing, it will have to get potentially chipped by rocks. Of course, that can be covered with heavy duty boots, but I just feel like I don't know if heavy duty boots will be used because I feel like you're gonna probably want that extra power to get through some powerful counters to it. But I mean, we shall see because it has Quirk Drive as well. So I guess if anything, we'll probably see probably also Energy Booster potentially. So it gives that extra power to special attack. So you may not even feel the need to have to run specs. Maybe be a late game cleaner potentially. I mean, we'll have to see. No idea. We're coming down to I would say only only 5 Pokemon to talk about left. Actually, maybe a little. I hope we're getting almost to the end. There's too many new Pokemon.
Yeah, crazy. It's a big deck, to be honest.
There's Iron Hands. We're gonna. Do you want to skip Iron Hands? Anything you want to say about Iron? I don't feel like there's anything OU because I'm trying to.
Gotta catch your hands, man. What can you say?
Yeah. I don't think Iron Hands will be OU, so we're just gonna kind of speed past Iron Hands for a second because we're trying to kind of get to the end, guys. Because we've been here for a minute. But we will stop real quick at Iron Jugulius as it is the paradox form of Hydreigon. I am honestly not sure at how amazing it will be.
I think it's going to be worse than Hydreigon right off the bat. I mean, looking at its stat distribution, it's got more speed, but everything else is worse. Flying typing is a huge down step in my opinion. It also has less bulk all around, and the drop in attack makes Mixess less promising. So there's a special attack and speed. It's probably more of a UU than low U in my eyes.
Okay, I completely understand that. I mean, I feel like Finch explained it perfectly well. I don't really have anything in particular to add, and I don't believe it got Hurricane, so it's. Oh no, it did get Hurricane. Oh, okay. Well, maybe if anything, I'm sure some of y'all may be sick of me mentioning Rain, but I will mention it again because I'm very very high on Rain this generation, and you guys will probably see me using it a lot. It having access to Hurricane, that's pretty good, Finch. I feel like that could probably
Yeah.
be the Zapdos quote unquote Tornadus abuser of Hurricane for Rain. So
Yeah, I don't know. It's still too early to tell, in my
yeah.
opinion.
I hear you. But one thing that's really good is because of that speed tier that it has, getting that extra boost in speed is actually really important if it's going to be for example, a Specs user on Rain potentially. Because it won't be getting speed boosted by any ability or anything like that. It does get Quirk Drive, of course. I don't see many people. If it is going to be used, I would be kind of surprised if the Quirk Drive set is used. Maybe because if anything, we could potentially see like a workup set. And again, this is probably not going to happen, but I'm thinking like, okay, if you're able to get your electric terrain up somehow, however that's going to be, or should you use Energy Booster, and you're able to get that +1 in speed, and then you EV it to a way where you get workup as well. Maybe with the coverage it has, you're able to get past some mons pretty nice, or maybe shoot, you don't even have to worry about missing Hurricane because you can just Terra Blast with Hurricane. So that could potentially be very scary.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be a lot. I'm curious to see how it pans out.
Yeah. Iron Thorns. It is the paradox form of Tyranitar. It is rock electric. I do not think it will be good as T-Tar, but the thing that is very important.
You are you.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, but the thing that is important is that it actually will be able to pull off probably DD better than T-Tar because it did get that. It may not seem like the greatest. Don't get me wrong, it is not the greatest, but it did get a small boost in speed, which I'm not sure the speed tier is off the top of my head, so I don't know how important that is yet. But we could maybe see it potentially be troublesome because of that. And then also having the electric and having that coverage, the rock electric is pretty decent coverage too. So I mean, we'll see. Getting Quirk Drive is really dope too because if it comes in, and you're trying to sweep with it, you're automatically going to get that boost in attack. That 1.5 at attack, and then you DD. That could be a problem. You will have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
And then now we only have 5 more to talk about. Real quick, Iron Valiant. I want this Pokemon to be good, Finch. I'm not gonna lie. This is the one I really want it to be good.
It's got the combination of speed and attack that you need.
Yeah.
The fighting fairy typing is interesting. It's probably going to be more of a glass cannon than anything else. While you do see an uptick in physical defensive prowess over the original form of Gallade, you see a substantial drop in special defense, which is definitely a hit. Overall, it's definitely going to be more of a glass cannon, a frailer giant, if you will, but that bump in speed from 80 to 116, unprecedented almost, and that's going to propel it, in my opinion, to OU viability. I don't know if it'll be strong, but it'll definitely be viable.
Yeah, so it gets the ability to knock off, which is really important. It gets the ability to Swords Dance. It also gets the ability to, I would imagine, Calm Mind too. Yeah, it gets the ability to Calm Mind. It gets the ability to Swords Dance. It gets Close Combat. It gets Knock Off. This is amazing things to have. It gets Substitute. It's able to also Taunt. It is able to also, I believe there's one more thing it's able to do that's really important. I think it's Shadow Sneak, if I recall. So it has priority. Let me see. Is Shadow Sneak here? Or did they take Shadow Sneak away from it? Yeah, it gets Shadow Sneak as well. So it has priority. So it's able to not get revenge so easily by Fluttermane. So I think this is going to be potentially really good. And that's not even counting the fact that it's going to get Quirk Drive as well. So depending, again, the way they gave this distribution, we could even potentially see some mix sets. I'm not 100% sure. We have no idea, of course. We could see, attack and then some special attacks, maybe. I really don't know. I don't know what we could see. But this is going to be potentially a very scary mon. So let's wrap it up real quick. The last 4, and I don't know what these things are called exactly in the game. They all have all their abilities end in ruin, so I don't know exactly understand what they're called. Do you know with Ting Lu, Qing Pao, Wu Qin, and Chi Yu are called in the game? Like what they're considered?
Um, well, if you want my honest opinion, I don't know, but they kind of look funny.
Yeah, I got you. Um, so
I guess they're called like something of ruin because their abilities are Vessel of Ruin, Sword of Ruin, Tablets of Ruin, Beads
yeah,
of Ruin, Dark types. So maybe like the Dark Ruin Pokemon. I don't know.
got you. So every single one of these mons will be good in whatever tier. I mean, that goes without saying. Whatever tier it ends up in, I feel like it will be good. Now the question is, of course, which one will be OU? I feel like the one I've heard the most for OU is Chien Pao. Finch, what do you think? Which one do you think will be OU? I'm gonna check on the server, see if I can.
I think that Chin Pao is going to be the best. I think it might even be broken. As for the others, unfortunately, Ting Lu and Wo Chen have more defensively favorable profiles in that they've got low speed and a high bulk. For example, Ting Lu's got the 155 base HP coupled with 125 defense. As a ground type, we can see it forming utility depending on its move pool, whereas Wo Chen, grass dark. Unfortunately, it's probably outclassed by a couple of other things, even though it's got Mammoth special bulk. I think that's probably going to be more of RU, whereas Ting Lu might be UU, but Chen Pao is going to be a dynamic OU offensive Pokemon. Chi Yu, I'm less sure about. It's got the profile to be a good special attacker, but very fragile on the physical end and a bad defensive typing, so we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I definitely hear you. Yeah, I mean, if when it comes to OU, Chien Pao is probably the best bet without question. And then I guess maybe Chi Yu would have the second best chance because of that amazing 135 special attack. Dark Fire is cool coverage. The abilities are pretty important as well because they work, to my understanding, very similar to Fairy Aura and Dark Aura. And the way, to my understanding, is, for example, with Chi-Yu, if, for example, Blissey wants to come into it, Blissey will automatically be knocked down to -1 special defense.
Well, that's definitely good.
Yeah. And then if I let me look it up. Pretty sure, Chien Pao lowers the defense of all Pokemon that comes in as well. And then when it comes to Vessel of Ruin, special attack gets lowered, and then Sword of Ruin defense.
In concept for sure.
So each of these Pokemon can be amazing. We really will see, guys. I mean, we really will see. I'm pretty sure that is everything that's worth talking about. I mean, if we forgot anything, guys, we apologize. But I mean, we've already been talking long enough about these Pokemon, and I don't want to take any more of Finch's time. But Finch, is there anything you want to say to close it off? I mean,
I just want to say thank you so much for having me. Don't worry about the length, man. There's just so much awesome things to discuss. I was pretty passionate and knowledgeable about some Pokemon, but I really let you take the front seat and kind of teach me about some others. And I think that's kind of how we win these early generation scenarios. We all share our collective knowledge with each other, and we expand our horizons. We learn new things, and that's how the metagame is going to really grow, from word of mouth, from sharing strategy, from talking with your friends. And this is just the best time to be part of a large community like we have. So, seeing people like you really take off on YouTube, that's awesome. Definitely going to share this video. Very excited about it, and thank you so much for having me.
Yes. Thank you so much for being here. So, guys, please give me your opinion in the comments below. I feel like we covered everything that really can be discussed, and honestly, I can speak for myself, and I'm looking forward to now getting some matches with these Pokemon that we've talked about being ridiculously broken. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will include a link to Finch's channel in the description, also in the comments, so you guys can go give him a subscription. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It's your boy NJMP. I'm out. Peace.